I left my job without a plan. It wasn't easy, but with the pure faith and intuition that led me to leave that day. When your soul is telling you to move, trust me, you're gonna wanna move. In this video, I'm going to share with you my journey and how I left my 9-to-5 on absolute faith. I'm gonna share with you the mindset that I utilized to anchor me and ground me well into where I am today. For those who are new here, my name is Patrice, and I am a full-time, what I like to call, conscious entrepreneur, an intuitive mentor, holistic guide, and water wellness consultant. Yet, I'll dive into all of that later. This story was meant to reach you today. By the end of this video, you'll learn some helpful tips to guide you without even having a game plan that will continue to support you, whether you are working a 9-to-5 and you're in the same shoes that I was in, or you're beginning your entrepreneurial journey and you're just beginning to figure it out. These steps are meant to help and guide you and support you along the way. When I left my job, there were signs. There were very specific signs that would appear on my way to work, while I was at work, even when I was home. Signs that were clear indications that it was time for me to leave, and it was going to be a lot sooner than later. Whether you believe in signs and synchronicities, reoccurring numbers, I had all of it. My background was in video production for about 10, 11 years, working with big companies and organizations, corporations, and I came across a job that gave me a steady paycheck. I wasn't freelancing anymore as much, but there was something that was coming in from the depths of my soul because I wasn't very happy. And at the time, in 2018, I was pre-diabetic. I was 200 pounds. I had really severe skin conditions, and I worked hard a lot. And my work-life balance wasn't really the best. And so I had health challenges. And for me, I was bypassing all of them until my doctor told me that I was pre-diabetic. And I looked in a mirror and I did not know who I was looking at. And so on my journey, I began to work out, and on my own, I got down to 160 pounds. And at this time, it was 2019, and it was getting closer and closer to the time for me to leave. I was delaying it. I was working on my portfolio, saying, okay, I'm gonna apply next week. And that's when divine intervention came in and shook me off my feet. It was a huge blowout. I worked under a boss whose ego often outweighed everything else. If they didn't like it, nothing else mattered. It created an environment where my voice felt constantly minimized, and every day, a little more of me felt silenced and frustrated. Until one day, I spoke up for myself, and I walked away, my heart pounding, sweating, and even feeling like there was a strong ancestor pulling me out of that office that day. I remember having this loud ringing in my left ear that sounded like an alarm, a warning, a spiritual warning that it was time for me to leave. It was traumatizing for me in many ways. And as someone who was a people pleaser, very passive and holding space for a lot of people and not wanting to disrupt feathers, I was one of those feathers that disrupted, and with good reason. We give thanks for the journey. I give thanks for that previous job. It taught me how to speak up for myself, to declare what was right and what was wrong, because it helped me and deepened my skill sets to carry me well into 2020. And I was connecting deeply into my spirituality. I was receiving clear messages that we had to make it aggressive for you because you wouldn't move. There are ways to avoid it being as harsh as I had experienced it. And that leads me to my first tip. When your spirit tells you to move, when the Most High or God, or however you describe this universal intelligence, tells you to move, please move. Because the longer you stay stagnant, And it may be because of the security of having that steady paycheck. Even though you're miserable, trust in that knowing, because that is a clear, intuitive compass that is coming online for you. And trust that the clarity comes after you take the leap. Now, not right after. Right after your body, your nervous system is calibrating to this quantum leap that you just made. So that's very important to remember, is that you may not always feel ready. When you're taking leaps, there is that fear of the unknown. And that is completely normal. For me, when I left and then 2020 happened, went into a deep evolution, rediscovering, remembering who I was, and not having to worry about working for someone else or getting up for someone else or making someone else's dream come true. Although I'm grateful for every person that I met, my soul was literally calling me into another direction. And so I followed. And what happened? By reframing and aligning my mindset and fine-tuning my intuition, I was able to find my community. Throughout 2020, when everyone was on lockdown, my spirit was calling me outside, and I met some of my phenomenal people that I am still close with to this day. And these are the same people that I'm on a wellness mission with. My introduction to going deeper into my wellness practices through water. Wherever you are on your journey, come back to what water teaches us. Water teaches us to be fluid. Water teaches us to adapt. Water teaches us to navigate the ebbs and the flows and to trust where you're going along the current. So throughout 2020, the first thing I did was make investments in myself with, interestingly enough, my unemployment money. Certifications. I became a Reiki master teacher, and one of them was in my water wellness. My water wellness is what has helped me exponentially on this journey, not just for my business, but for my mindset, for my nervous system, and how my health was directly connected to how I navigated in the world. So by making these investments, I kept taking leaps on myself. I kept trusting myself. I kept betting on myself. And that leads me to the second tip. Finding your tribe is so important, because when you're able to find your tribe and your community and people who see as you see, they align with your values. That support group is what's going to really help you and support you along the journey. And number 3, you just got to do it and strengthen your intuition. Strengthening your intuition is absolutely important when you are navigating big leaps, because the intuition is what pulls you. The intuition is what comes in from your right brain, and the right brain is the feminine. The right brain they call as the God brain. But one of the things is to remember that intuition is fluidity. It is flow state. You're moving, yet you may not know exactly why, but you feel in your spirit and you hear that that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. When you receive messages and downloads and confirmation after confirmation, synchronicity after synchronicity that it's time to leave a space, you will regret it if you don't. And for me, I did not want to live that regret. I didn't want to wake up dreading going to the same place, feeling like I didn't belong. The initiation causes the neurons in your brain, the sensors in your body, your nervous system to open up. We begin to realize how unregulated our nervous systems have been, especially working in jobs that we feel are depleting us, especially when we haven't established wellness tools and protocols to navigate working in these environments. The biggest lessons that I learned throughout this journey was, yes, it was messy. Yes, I went through my savings, and I did have other gifts. My video production work, I'm very grateful for that as well, because that carried me. And then when I finally began to birth my holistic business and I was receiving one-to-one clients and helping people through energy work and helping people through water wellness, and I began to get into my own flow. Instead of looking at why this is happening to me, how is this happening to me for my greater good? That's reframing the mind. And when you do that, you're able to aligning in a sense that my intuition is clearly telling me that the next step is to leave this place. My intuition is so open after reframing that it is time for me to leave that relationship. It is time for me to move out of that environment. It starts to get easier, and it's like strengthening a muscle. And this is why it's important to create rituals for yourself, create practices for yourself that reframes your mindset and your thinking with the wellness tools and practices and implementing it through action. Clarity is a lot harder to feel when your nervous system is not regulated, when your mindset is in a fight or flight. And to have protocols for regulating stress, to have protocols for when my mind is going into an ebb. Leaving my last job in 2019, I'm grateful for the support that I had along the way, especially from my family. And over time, I got back on my feet. I began to work for myself. I've traveled the world. I joined a community that want to make absolute change, positive change in the world. And I birthed my wellness business back in 2022, Lotus Sanctorium Wellness. And I get to work on my time. I get to feel into my nervous system. I get to help others do the same and to remind them that they're worthy of it. We're not meant to be stagnant, sitting in boxes and cubicles. If you love your 9 to 5, beautiful. Yet if you feel that there's something in you that's saying, we gotta try something different, trust it. If you have gifts already, gifts that come to you so naturally, those are perfect ways for you to monetize them, water them, take care of them. They will carry you. That's exactly what I did. And I stuck to what I was passionate about, which was health and wellness, spiritual enlightenment, and entrepreneurship. Building and helping other people. Whatever speaks to you and you're passionate about, create a system for yourself that sustains you. We are here to be free. We are here to create. We are here to share our gifts. We are here to speak. You're not always gonna know what's next, and that's okay. But I guarantee you, the pieces to the puzzle will come together. The first step in my process of leaving 9 to 5 was to calibrate my system. I put this process into a free book just for you called Reframe and Align. It's for wellness leaders, it's for entrepreneurs that are on the journey to building something foundational. It starts with your mindset first. If this story resonated with you in any way, and if you want to follow along to learn how I've built my wellness business and to share some helpful tips with you along your entrepreneurial and wellness journey, subscribe and we'll dive deeper into it together. And remember, you were meant for greater. The call is calling you. It's up to you to answer it. Peace.